Did you see the North Korea-US summit? I thought it was hilarious. You had Kim Jong-un demonstrating classic low-status body language, while Donald Trump with ultra high-status body language. We're gonna break down their body language so you don't fall into low status during your interactions. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Derek Van Schaik here. I have my computer right in front of me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right through the video and point out specifically what is high status body language and what is low status body language. Even though I'm gonna give Donald Trump a lot of credit for having high status body language, this video is by no means intended to be political. It is purely for informational purposes to demonstrate what high status body language versus low status body language looks like. Let's get started. Pause. The first thing that we see here is Donald Trump extending his hand. Donald Trump was the first to do it. And it gives the illusion that Donald Trump is leading the interaction here. And pause. When they shake hands, Kim is on the left, Donald Trump is on the right, so therefore Kim naturally has the upper hand. In other words, you can see Kim's hand and not Donald Trump's hand. So therefore, it naturally looks like Kim is more dominant in that interaction. What you'll see next is classic in politics. And Donald Trump grabs Kim's right shoulder, therefore blocking Kim's right hand from appearing like he has the upper hand in the interaction and showing Donald Trump's left hand, giving it the appearance that Donald Trump is the dominant figure in the interaction. And pause. I think at this point it's important to talk about age and size. Trump says he's 6'3", Kim is 5'7". The height difference does matter, but it's not a guarantee. Also, Trump is over twice Kim's age. Naturally, Trump is going to appear higher status because of his age, but just because someone's older than another person doesn't guarantee that person will be higher status than another person. It doesn't work that way. What really caught my eye here is that Trump started to whisper things to Kim. Kim's response is just to nod his head and smile submissively. This interaction here reminds me of a principal confronting a student after a principal found out the student was doing something bad. You know that I found out that you were building nuclear weapons in your school bathroom. And Kim's like, yeah, you know, I kind of was. Whoops. Sorry. It's just hilarious. I mean, the age difference, the height difference, Kim smiling and nodding, Trump's little whispers, just all point to principal-student type relationship. We're not going to shake hands anymore. Now let's pose for a picture. You can always tell who the dominant person is in an interaction because that dominant person is leading the interaction. And Donald Trump's done smiling for the pictures. Donald Trump tells Kim, we're gonna do something else now. This part is one of my favorites. Going back to the principal-student type relationship, it's like Donald Trump's pointing over to the side of the stage and saying, we called your mommy and daddy to the school because we need to talk about you building nuclear weapons in the school's bathroom. And Kim looks over, smiles, like he just recognized his mommy and daddy. Talking, and then pause. Again, Donald Trump touches Kim to display more dominance. After Donald Trump did that, watch what happens. Pause. Kim touches Donald Trump in the exact same place. I would say that he's just responding to Donald Trump at that point. The fact that he's touching Donald Trump right on the elbow, right after Donald Trump touched him like that, just says that he's touching back. It's not a display of dominance. He may try to convince himself that he's trying to display some dominance here. But watch this. After Kim touched Trump there, Trump looks at Kim and then initiates. He's like, you thought you were being dominant. You're just reciprocating the same gesture that I did to you. So I'm gonna initiate handshake to show you who's dominant. Kim is always smiling, almost trying to get Donald to smile. What that means is Kim is coming from a place of very low status. And Donald Trump gestures as if, I'll show you the way to go. And Trump gives a little smirk, and that's fine, but he's not giving this ear-to-ear grin. There's this huge misperception in business that you want to be smiling. You don't want to look angry, you want to look pleasant, but you don't want to be smiling and smiling to everybody and smiling. What that means in business, okay, is that you want something. It's very supplicative body language. I mean, really think about it. I mean, think about the times that maybe you needed a job and you met a CEO of a big company at an event, right? How did you act? Were you smiling and acting everything's all great, and then the CEO maybe wasn't smiling that much, right? Why? Why were you smiling that much? It's probably because you wanted a job. You wanted to get in his good graces. You wanted something, okay? So anytime you want something, you're automatically going to come from a place of very low status. So clearly here, Kim really wants something. So that's actually really good news for this whole interaction and for peace in the world. Donald Trump guides Kim down the hall so he can exert his dominance. But Donald Trump is very, very aware of the optics. So instead of staying behind Kim the whole time of walking down the hall, Donald Trump leads him to be behind him and then quickly speeds up to be walking right alongside Kim. So there's no impression that Kim is leading Donald Trump down the hall. This part is one of my favorites. Donald Trump smiles and kind of maybe kids on something, and Kim just bursts out in this gigantic smile, responding to Donald Trump. Whoever is reacting to the other person will be the less dominant person. And then watch this. Kim's head whips back and forth, never moving her body very, very quickly when you're trying to convey high status. And Donald Trump, of course, hand on the back. This is the way in. I'll show you. Now they're in the room. Let's analyze body language right now, how each of them are sitting. Donald Trump first, ultra high status body language. Let's look at it, let's break it down. First thing, Donald Trump leaning forward, ready for action. His hands together. This is power pose, okay? You ever see The Simpsons with Mr. Burns? He does this a lot. Look at his feet and legs. His legs are not crossed, his feet are not crossed. In that type of position, it's tempting to want to cross your feet underneath your chair. Any type of crossing, right, whether it's your feet or your hands or anything like that, automatically shows lower status because it shows that you're insecure, you're giving yourself kind of like a little bit of a hug. Let's just talk about his tie. His tie is bright red. The thing with a solid bright red tie like that, you have to be an extremely strong personality to pull that tie off. I've seen very weak personality people try to wear that tie and they don't come across as strong and dominant. You know how they come across? They kind of look like a little boy wearing a tie. Now let's take a look at Kim. So some of what we see here is Kim leaning away from the cameras. What that says is that he's scared. He's not going to be leaning into it like Donald Trump. He's leaning away from it. Okay, now he crosses his hands. Not only just crosses his hands, if you just cross his hands like this, he's crossing his hands very, very close to his chest. Okay, meaning I'm getting really nervous. It's a defense mechanism to protect our organs with our hands, which says, I'm scared, I'm defensive, I don't know what's gonna happen, I need to protect myself.
Great discussion, and I think tremendous success. You'll be tremendously successful. And it's my honor
And pause. Look at Kim's face. He either looks like he's going to faint or throw up. He is extremely nervous. You can even see a little bit of sweat forming on his face. Of course, nervousness, fear, any of that, very low status. I mean, keep in mind, he's sitting down with the leader of the free world, okay? And Kim Jong-un is the leader of 25 million people, most of whom are starving. Yeah, he's intimidated, and it makes sense that he is. Kim still looking like he's gonna throw up. And then the hand starts to go, right? Low status wave, okay? So this is the thing. You know, if you're gonna actually make a gesture, make the gesture. What a high status person would do is make the gesture. They would make the gesture. If you wanna do something, do it. Commit to it. Did you see that part? He starts to fidget in his chair, right? He starts to squirm a little bit, Okay, low status people aren't very, very comfortable in themselves. High status people can just sit. Now Kim really starts to get nervous. He grabs the armrest of his chair and starts to hold on to it like it's a cane holding him up. The body language of him holding onto the armrest as if it's a cane says that, hey, I think I want to leave, right? I'm going to use this armrest to help myself get up and get the hell out of here. He's really looking like he's going to throw up.
And the old prejudices and practices work as obstacles.
And then Trump does something that is low status right here. The handshake. Very, very quickly, Trump gives a thumbs up. Almost like, oh, I don't know if I should be giving you a thumbs up. You are a brutal dictator that killed many, many people and are starving your own people for your pursuit of nuclear weapons. And I just gave you a thumbs up. Probably not a good idea. Trump quickly removes his thumbs up, and then look what Trump does. Boom, pulls on the jacket as if, all right, let's reset. That probably wasn't a good idea. Also, giving a thumbs up after a handshake is really saying, I can't just let the handshake sit. I want something from you. I want to make sure you like me. Then, of course, Trump kicks everyone out of the room so they can start their meeting. Very, very high status to be able to say, hey, this is when the meeting starts, and I'll tell you when it ends. This interaction was just incredible to watch. You know, on the one side, you had Donald Trump, the ultra high status body language, and on the other hand, you have Kim Jong-un, who is from the Hermit Kingdom, small country, hardly ever leaves his own country. And now he's like thrown onto the international stage with all this media, all this press. The leader of the free world is there talking to him. He's just totally in over his head. And it's just a perfect example to demonstrate side by side what's low status body language and what is ultra high status body language. So wanted to share it with you. This is a departure from my typical video, but if you do like the video, I will make more of these. You need to let me know by writing in the comments, giving it a like, and also subscribing so these videos come right to you. We'll see you at the top.